one of the questions I get asked a lot is, how do you record a podcast? Because having two podcasts, a lot of people wonder, how do you ever make time for doing it? Isn't that a lot of work? And to answer you honestly, it's really not that much work. Obviously, you can take 8 hours to edit an episode if you wanted to, but pretty much, I'm looking for good sound quality, and I just go with it, and we just have fun. I do a solo podcast and one with a co-host, and it's just basically a matter of just having fun, just going with it. And I'm just going to do a quick tutorial on how you can do your own podcast. I use a program called Audacity, so now I'm going to go and just basically find it out there, and you can find it at SourceForge. So I'm just going to go here, download the Audacity version that I want to use, and that's it, and then I install it. Obviously, I already have it. Another program that you're going to want, it's not really a program, it's called a lame encoder, and this one's also at SourceForge too. The lame encoder basically allows you to export an MP3 out of Audacity, because Audacity, the bare bones version, doesn't allow for exports of MP3s. So obviously, one of the formats for a podcast would be an MP3, so you're going to want to be able to export an MP3. Obviously, I'm already set up with that, but to install the lame encoder is basically just a file that when you try to export as MP3, the Audacity is going to say, hey, we don't have the lame encoder, where is it? And then you find it on your computer, and that's it. It's really that simple. So what we're going to do is now we're just going to record our file. So I have a blue Snowball microphone that I use. Obviously, you can see that's going to be my recording device on here, and my playback device is just going to be my computer. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to talk, and then this is going to be our podcast. So let's see how this goes. Alright, so now we have our file, and then what we're going to want to do is just basically do a file and export. We're going to save it onto our desktop for now, and here's where you're going to want to put your IDV3 tags. And I actually do not use Audacity to do it. I do mine with iTunes. I'll probably do that in a later podcast to show you how I do it, but it just allows you to put the picture, and just it to me it's a lot neater and cleaner. So we're going to do that. We're going to just save the file. Alright, so now it's right there. So now what do you do once you have it? Well, it all depends. Obviously, if you have a podcast, it's just like a website. You're going to have it hosted somewhere. There's companies out there that do it. I know there's companies out there that do it for free. I mean, fortunately, I have my own servers with a whole lot of bandwidth and a ton of storage, so that's where I put mine. So basically, you're just going to want to find a hosting solution for your podcast, and then you're going to need to have an RSS feed so that people know how to get to it. So that part will probably be for another episode, but as you can see, it's really not hard to do it. I mean, there's a million things that you can do as far as effects and overlays, but this is basically the bare bones version, and hopefully it's just enough to get your feet wet and you don't get scared of having the podcast.